Hello, welcome back to Madrona's Pulse Teachings. I am Iris and I am going to jump into an astro forecast with you. So I'm looking at the astro energy that we are going to be living with, feeling inside and outside for the next week. So this is looking from August 26th to September 1st. Spoiler alert, September 1st is a big day. We have Uranus stationing retrograde in Taurus at 27 degrees. And then we have Pluto back into Capricorn. And that brings us to the end of the week. And then the next day we have our Virgo New Moon. So there's a lot of energy this week. And there we know this is a week of transition because it is literally a week of change. And it's a week of change for two outer planets, one of whom is the change maker, the awakener, Uranus, and the other of which is the great transformer, Pluto. So we are working with some big energies, changing gears. We traditionally say that we feel this more if you have personal planets where that kind of switch of direction and switch of sign is happening. So you want to have a look at your chart if you do such things. And Uranus is going to be at 27 degrees of Taurus. That's where it is so slow right now. And then it's going to station retrograde on the 1st of September. And then from 0 degrees of Aquarius to 29 degrees of Capricorn is where we have Pluto, who I just uploaded a video on Pluto, and that is signaling the next few months of major change, death and rebirth energy. But this week is bringing us into some major change energy. And before we get to them, at the end of the week, thank you, Mercury, you are stationing direct. And so Mercury is stationing direct. This is happening at 21 degrees of Leo on August 29th, okay? Now, this is all happening kind of towards the end of the week, but we're going to be feeling it, especially if you have personal placements talking to either or both and Pluto and Uranus. You're definitely already feeling one, if not both of them. And this is happening in Earth energy, okay, with the Uranus stationing retrograde and the Pluto coming into Capricorn. And especially there could be heaviness, there could be exhaustion. With the Pluto shift, there could be exhaustion. There could also be wonky nervous system stuff going on, and that is happening both because we have a shift from Aquarius into Capricorn, and then we have Uranus, who's associated with Aquarius, and Uranus is literally stationing retrograde, and Uranus is very much related to our nervous system. So the nervous system could go a little wonky this week, and we want to take care of that. And Mercury, also related to the nervous system and our minds and our cognition and our ability to express ourselves and our voice, is stationing direct, okay? So it's a lot of change. There's a lot of changeovers. And there's also some really interesting divine feminine energy that we want to pay attention to. So Venus is going to be trining that Uranus, who is stationing retrograde. And so Venus is there in Virgo, and she is we start the week out with her at 26 degrees. So she's coming into that exact trine as we move through the very beginning of this week. And then what's so interesting is that she's going to talk to the other two outer planets. So she's going to move to the 28th degree of Virgo, and then she's going to come into an opposition with Neptune, who's at the final degree of Pisces. And then she's going to, on the 29th to 30th, she's going to come into her conversation with Pluto. And then she's going to be in that trine with Pluto when Pluto is at the 29th degree of Capricorn. Okay, so Venus this week is talking to all the outer planets. And she starts with that trine to Uranus. And so Venus, our values, in Virgo, you know, she's really about coming in and taking care with self-love, our mind-body connection, really taking care of how we are honoring with a devotional quality whatever has meaning to us in our life, whatever habits, whatever practices, whatever people, whatever parts of ourselves that we really want to be honoring them, just with Venus and Virgo. And now she's going to trine this Uranus, who's literally stationing retrograde. Now she's going to trine Uranus before that official retrograde. And so, you know, yes, it's a trine. That said, when we're dealing with a trine with an outer planet, someone whose very task is to awaken, that doesn't always mean that there's no effort involved. When something in our natal chart is trining Pluto, that can be a heck of a lot of energy. It's for the empowerment of the soul in this life. But the trine, especially when it's talking to a very transitional big energy, you know, that could be our nervous system. Venus is in Virgo. Uranus is changing directions in Taurus, the body. We really want to take care of that nervous system. And it also is a call to pay attention to the body. The body literally might be communicating to us about our values. It might be telling us what we need, especially as we're coming into this transitional period, especially as we're coming into that Uranian reflection. And getting more insight into our authentic selves, because that is what Uranus offers us. And so here, Venus and our values are kind of getting a wake-up call, and we want to pay attention to that. And then Venus is opposite that Neptune, final degree. Final degrees. The outer planets are working with us and really teaching us about spiritualizing those values, what brings us to daily practice, daily care, daily devotion that aligns us to our soul's love, our soul's need to recommune with spirit is part of what that Neptune to Venus is literally singing, because Neptune and Venus, when they are talking to each other, it is this beautiful, luscious art of however it's translated, whether it's through music or visual art or poetry. But that is also, you might want to lean into some of that art. You might want to lean into some of the poetry to sing the song of Venus and Neptune talking to each other, because they are a beautiful pair when they talk to each other. And on the opposition, they want to help each other find some balance. That Neptune is very strong. However, it's retrograde at the 29th degree of Pisces. So really opening, you know, there's so much big energy here between Neptune at the final degree of Pisces, Pluto coming into the final degree of Capricorn this week, and Uranus is 27 degrees, pretty darn close, about to station retrograde. So there's big energy. And just, again, how do you take care of your nervous system so that that is actually positioning you to receive messages, to receive and perceive and be in the state of mind through which you can see synchronicities speaking to you. Synchronicities are spirit speaking with us. Also different dimensions of ourself speaking with us, higher mind speaking with us. So really getting ourselves into that kind of mindful way of being so that we can listen, and we can listen in deeply this week. And that's also going to help us as these major energies are shifting and turning. And then, of course, we're going to have a Venus approaching that end of the week, as she is approaching to enter Libra, is when she's going to trine Pluto, as Pluto is coming back into Capricorn. And interestingly as well, for Venus, she's not done. She's going to keep going. As she gets to the end of the week, she's coming really close to the position of the true North Node in Libra. And so she is coming to talk to that North Node just about 2 weeks before we have our first eclipse in September. Okay, I think I just said North Node, South Node. There's too many words moving in there. So again, Venus is approaching the South Node. That exact conjunction at 6 degrees of Libra is going to be next week, but she's coming there. So she talks to all these outer planets, and then she has the karmic cleanse. Okay. And again, what's happening in Libra when there's a karmic cleanse? Letting go of people-pleasing habits, letting go of the ways that we silence ourselves. And we've been working on this with the South Node in Libra for a while. And Venus is coming for that conjunction after she's kind of had this awakening surge with Uranus, this spiritualization, this call to remember the spiritual song that our soul speaks with Neptune. and then the powerful transformation of our values after we've had that experience of singing that soul song. And then, oh, this is so good. Let me just go cozy up with that South Node so that I can release any of those yucky things in my mind and my psyche that just hold me back from being in honest communion when I'm in relationship. Because Libra wants true peace. She wants true justice. And that comes when we can just show up as honestly as possible with the other person sitting in front of us. And in order to do that, we have to be able to show up with ourselves as honestly as possible. And that's another big lesson of Libra. And Venus, when she's moving towards that conjunction in the end of the week with the South Node, could really also be helping us to bring that self-love into our relationship with ourself, so that we know what it feels like to love ourselves enough to show up with others in an honest way. And also Pallas Athena, more divine feminine energy, is also talking to all of the outer planets this week. And so again, she's going to start with Uranus, but she's opposite Uranus. So Pallas Athena, a warrior goddess, the ultimate strategist of the ancient world and of the archetypes, is in Scorpio. And so she starts out the week opposite Uranus, and she is going to be in an opposition with Uranus pretty much throughout the rest of not only this week, but, well, it is this week. All of August is what I'm trying to say. It's been a long day, folks, but we are doing this. And so she's going to be talking to Uranus for the whole week. And then as they move beyond their conversation, she's going to come into a trine with Neptune, and then she will sextile Pluto. So there is this influx over the next week and two of this divine feminine energy coming in, and graced by conversations of opening and transformation and awakening and spiritual insights. And Pallas and Athena is taking us into our witchy resources. Pallas Athena reclaims in Scorpio. She reclaims the emotions that got separated from the mind, that in patriarchy, really, there was this strong division of emotion and reason that then was reinforced during the Enlightenment in an incredible way that we have inherited. And yet, even 2,000 years ago, there was this kind of charge between emotion and so-called reason. And Pallas Athena has suffered from that. And so she does need to kind of come into reclaiming those murky, powerful, undifferentiated, watery Scorpio depths. And she's been doing that. And now she takes that the next level by awakening with Uranus, again, finding the spiritual alchemy that comes from when she talks to Neptune, going into those depths and really doing that alchemical work. And then where does that bring us? It transforms us, and that brings us to her conversation with Pluto. And she is the welcome party for Pluto as Pluto enters into Capricorn. Okay. And so it is a big week. It is a big week that also might prefer to be a slow week, to really take care of the nervous system, to slow down the body. That Mercury is stationing direct, and it's happening in Leo. And that, as I said, as that stationing, shifting gears is happening, we can be a little out of sorts. And that's in Leo. That's our, what do we want to say? What does our authentic self want to say? How is it getting driven into acting out of fear and going into performance mode, which is not really my authentic self showing up? Those are some of the Leo journeys. And so we just want to kind of go gently, and then as Mercury begins to pick up speed, our psyche begins to kind of integrate a little bit more, and that is going to be a freaking lovely release, however, for what's going on in Gemini, because Mercury has been ruling all of that Gemini energy. It was ruling the conjunction of Jupiter and Mars, and that made that, maybe that's why it seems so strange that we're at the end of August, because we literally have had that kind of push and pull between going forward and then being like, no, not there, or maybe this way, or however that's been playing out in your life. And that is going to be a release as Mercury stations direct. And that is coming this week. But again, it's coming with those kind of big energies that are shifting. and Uranus and Pluto. And so especially if you have personal placements talking to those big two, we just want to slow down and witness the mystery unfolding, which is really all that we can ever do, but sometimes we forget that. And with that, I'm going to send you into this week, and then I'll see you to talk about the Virgo New Moon, which is happening on September 2nd. Okay? Be well.